Hello students and welcome to this master class explainer. Imagine करो, आप अभी अपना स्मार्टफोन हाथ में पकड़े हो. Have you ever wondered what it's actually made of? The metals inside it, the glass screen, the plastic casing, all of these things ultimately come from our earth. आज हम exactly यही समझने वाले हैं. We are going to decode the resources of India. I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you won't look at a simple stone or a drop of water the same way again. Let's dive into this. Here is our agenda. हम इस dense chapter को 6 simple logical steps में master करेंगे. 1. What are resources? 2. Classifying our resources. 3. Iron ore. 4. Coal and petroleum. 5. Powering India. And 6. Exam revision and conservation. बहुत easy होने वाला है, step by step चलेंगे.
Section 1. What are resources? First things first, let's figure out what actually makes a random object on this planet a resource instead of just a piece of nature.
सोचो अगर एक जंगल में कोयला यानी कोल पड़ा है, पर किसी को उसको यूज करना नहीं आता. Is it a resource? The answer is no. Simple सी बात है, अगर यूज नहीं तो resource नहीं. Mere presence of a substance doesn't make it a resource. नेचर में बहुत चीजें हैं, पर वो तब तक कचरा या पत्थर है जब तक इंसान उनका कोई यूज नहीं ढूंढ लेता.
Basically, a resource is all about its functionality or its utility within human knowledge. For example, a waterfall is just falling water, right? But the moment human beings learned how to put a turbine under it to generate electricity, that same falling water became a massive power resource. The functionality changes with human knowledge and demand. Okay, moving to Section 2, classifying our resources. Geographers love to categorize things to make them easy to study. Think of this as sorting all the items in your house into different labeled buckets based on their features.
अब इसको एक real life example से समझते हैं. First, on the basis of nature, we have flow resources like sunlight and wind. Think of them like an unlimited stream of water that keeps flowing. Then we have fund resources like coal or oil. ये एक bank account की तरह है with a limited balance. Once you spend it, it's gone. Then occurrence. Ubiquitous means available everywhere, like the air we breathe. Rare means localized in specific places, like gold or petroleum. Existence can be tangible, meaning you can touch it, like coal, or intangible, like a scientist's knowledge. Finally, ownership can range from your individual farmland to national rivers to the entire world's oceans. Samajh guys? Let's move ahead.
Section 3 focuses on metallic minerals, specifically iron ore. We call it the backbone, and there's a very good reason for that.
Because iron ore is literally the skeleton of modern civilization. From tiny safety pins to gigantic skyscrapers, railway lines, and ships, everything depends on it. Now, all iron is not created equal in nature. We have 4 distinct classes ranked by their metal content. Number 1 is magnetite, the absolute finest quality, with about 70% metal content. Then comes hematite with 60%, then limonite and siderite. यहाँ ध्यान देना, यही point exam में important है. Remember the sequence from best to worst: magnetite, hematite, limonite, siderite. Thankfully, most of the iron in India is the high-graded hematite ore. Geography बिना map के आधी होती है. Notice the region highlighted on the eastern side. That is Odisha. Odisha ranks first in iron ore production in India today. If we look closely at districts like Mayurbhanj and Keonjhar, these are the heavy-duty treasure chests of Indian iron. Next time you see an iron pillar or a steel bridge, just imagine that the metal probably came from these very mines.
Moving to Section 4, coal and petroleum, our crucial fuel minerals. To understand how these are made, imagine the Earth as a giant, slow-cooking pressure cooker. Millions of years ago, dense forests and marine life got buried underground. With intense heat and pressure over time, they cooked into fossil fuels. Just like iron, coal has stages of formation, but here it is based on carbon content. Peat is the first stage, with just 30% carbon. Then it compresses into lignite, or brown coal. With more time and pressure, it becomes bituminous, which is what we mostly use. And finally, the ultimate stage is anthracite, with 90 to 99% carbon. The higher the carbon, the better the heat. And where is our biggest coal hub? Jharkhand ranks first in India, with the Jharia coal field being the absolute largest. Let's compare coal and petroleum side by side. Petroleum is often called liquid gold because of its immense value in transport, industries, and everyday life. Looking at our oil fields, in Assam, we have Digboy. Fun fact, Digboy is the oldest oil field in India, started way back in 1882. But today, our largest oil producer isn't actually on land. It's offshore, deep in the Arabian Sea. It's called Bombay High in Maharashtra, where a massive rig named Sagar Samrat pumps out this liquid gold. So we have coal, oil, and water. But how do they actually help you and me? Let's move to Section 5, Powering India. This is where we talk about turning these resources into the electricity that powers your schools and homes. This brilliant table compares conventional and non-conventional energy sources. Conventional means the traditional stuff we have used for ages, like coal, petroleum, and firewood. But remember the fund resource concept? It is exhaustible, and when you burn it, it causes high pollution. That is why India must rapidly shift to non-conventional sources, like solar, wind, and tidal power. These are flow resources. They are inexhaustible, constantly available, clean, and safe. For example, harnessing solar energy in Sagar Island or wind energy in Tamil Nadu. We have to use the sun and wind to save our limited bank balance of coal. Speaking of clean energy, let's talk about tidal power. Tidal simply means water. It is electricity generated through the sheer kinetic force of falling water, turning a massive turbine. Did you know that in Europe, hydroelectricity is often referred to as white coal? That is because it gives massive, intense power just like coal, but it's totally clean, white, and pollution-free. And India was quite early to this game. If we point our attention down south to Karnataka, India's very first hydropower plant was established in 1902 at Shivasamudram on the river Kaveri. That was a huge historical milestone for powering our country way before many other nations. All right, students, take a deep breath. We have reached Section 6, Exam Revision and Conservation. यहाँ ध्यान देना, ये exam में पक्का आएगा. Let's do a rapid-fire recap and talk about the future of our planet.
First, let's look at this heavy textbook definition. Sustainable development. What does it actually mean? Simple सी बात है. It means using what we need today without stealing from our future generations. अगर हमने सारा कोल और पेट्रोलियम आज ही जला दिया, तो कल के बच्चे क्या यूज करेंगे? That is why conservation, switching off lights, recycling paper, not wasting water is not just an exam topic. It is a survival rule for humanity. Okay, 30-second rapid revision. Lock these facts in your brain right now. Odisha is number 1 for iron ore. Jharkhand, specifically Jharia, is number 1 for coal. Digboi in Assam is our oldest oil field. The absolute best quality coal is anthracite. And hydropower is famously known as white coal. Ek chota sa memory trick. A for anthracite, A for A-grade, best quality. I want to leave you with a massive question to think about. If our coal and oil, our limited fund resources, run out tomorrow, is India ready to run entirely on the sun and wind? Are we technologically and socially ready for that complete transition? Geography isn't just about memorizing rocks and maps. It is about understanding how we survive and thrive on this beautiful spinning football we call Earth. Thank you for joining this explainer. Keep observing the world around you and keep learning.